I want you guys to role play with me for a second. Okay, so let's say that one night you decide that you want to go watch an NFL game at a sports bar. So you get dressed, you put your clothes on, you throw on something nice, you hop in your car, and you drive to your nearest sports bar. So at that sports bar, you're watching the game with a lot of other NFL fans. And if you were to get up and ask those NFL fans that's watching the game with you, what are some teams that they consider Super Bowl contenders? What are some teams that they believe has a chance to win the Super Bowl this season? The teams that a lot of people will probably say will be the Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, the Seattle Seahawks, and New Orleans Saints. But I guarantee you, a team that a lot of people probably won't even bring up in the Super Bowl conversation is the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are the Super Bowl contender that nobody is talking about. If you watch Fox Sports or you watch ESPN and they talk about their Super Bowl contenders and teams are in the Super Bowl conversation, nobody really mentions the LA Rams in that discussion. And when you look at the Rams heading into the season, I had the Rams going 8-8. If you watch my preseason prediction, I said that the Rams are either going to be really bad or they're going to be really good. And it turns out they ended up being really good. And right now they're currently 7-3. They are tied with Seattle for first place in the NFC West. And not only are they tied for first place in the NFC West, but they also are in the conversation for a team that could potentially win that number one overall seed in the NFC. And one thing about the NFC this year is that you don't really know what team this year can make it out. Now in the AFC, we know that's either going to be the Steelers or it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. But this year, the NFC, it's just so much parity. Like, it go either way. Arizona could win it. The Rams could win it. The Packers could win it. Seattle could win it. The Saints could win it. You don't really know who is going to make it out of the NFC. Like last year, the team that the majority of us felt that was going to go to the Super Bowl and represent the NFC was the 49ers. But this year, somebody wants to say, hey, you got $1,000. You have to choose one team that you believe will win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl this year. I don't think you will have a lot of confidence and you will have a hard time choosing who that team would be. But for me, if I had to choose right now, it would probably be the LA Rams. Now, I don't know why a lot of people aren't talking about how good the LA Rams are. I think it may be because of that loss that they suffered to the Miami Dolphins a couple of weeks ago. But if you can't get over that loss, because it's just one loss, a lot of you people have to understand that the NFL is a game that is always changing. You can't go by what team a team lost to 2 weeks ago. Because, listen, you look at the Rams, they beat two of the best teams in the NFC. They beat Seattle and they beat Tampa Bay this past Monday night on Monday Night Football. So they beat two of the best teams in the NFC back-to-back weeks. Look at how good this defense is. This is arguably the best defense in the NFL. Now, a lot of people say that the Steelers have the best defense in the NFL, but you can make a legitimate argument and say that the Rams have the best defense in the NFL. And as a matter of fact, you can say that their defense is better than the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and I wouldn't get mad at you. Because the argument is there. In points per game allowed, they're aligned 19.2 points per game. That is second in the NFL. Yards per game allowed, 291. That's first in the NFL. Passing yards per game allowed, 200.6, which is second. Rushing yards per game, 91.3. Fifth in the NFL. They're allowing 4.7 yards per play, which is first in the NFL. They're allowing the least amount of yards in the NFL per play. Third down defense, fifth. They only allow their opposing opponent to convert on third down 37% of the time and have the 15th best red zone defense. This is one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. Leonard Floyd has 7 sacks. We know how good Aaron Donald is. He's going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year once again this year. He has 9 sacks. Michael Brockers. Look at this secondary. This is the best secondary in the NFL, and nobody's talking about it. Jalen Ramsey has been really good. I don't know why Pro Football Focus has him rated so low, but Jalen Ramsey has shut down some of the best wide receivers in the NFL this year. He shut down DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf has been terrorizing everybody this year, and Jalen Ramsey just shut him down. You got Darius Williams, who has 12 pass deflections and 4 interceptions. If the NFL was to have a most improved player award or breakout player of the year award, it would probably go to Darius Williams. Because if you were to tell me that before the season began that Darius Williams was going to end up being one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL statistically this year, I would look at you and say, who is Darius Williams, first of all, and why do you believe Darius Williams is going to be this good? Even Rams fans, I don't even think you Rams fans could have predicted Darius Williams to have the season that he was going to have this year. Okay, you also got Troy Hill. You also got a really good back end of your secondary. So for the Rams, they have a complete defense. Their defense really has no holes at all. And you look at this offense. Now, I know this offense isn't lighting up the NFL like it was when they faced the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl a couple of years back, but this is an offense that still is more than capable. We know that this LA Rams offense is not a weak link by any means. Now, the question is Jared Goff. A lot of people are going to say, well, JT, the Rams are not Super Bowl contender because Jared Goff simply isn't that great of a quarterback. And I tell people this every single year that you don't have to have an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. All right? Joe Flacco has won the Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Like, Peyton Manning, the year that he won the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, he was a below average quarterback. After he broke some record Thursday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs, his body just completely broke down. So that just shows you that you don't have to have a polarizing quarterback to win a Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, if you go down the list of quarterbacks who have won the Super Bowl the past decade, not a lot of them have been elite quarterbacks aside from Tom Brady. You have Russell Wilson in there. But when Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl with Seattle, he wasn't at the level that he is right now. And Rodgers. But when you think about it, you don't really have to have an elite quarterback to win the Super Bowl. And that's the argument that a lot of people are going to use with the LA Rams. They're going to say, well, JT, what about Jared Goff, man? Jared Goff isn't going to be able to go toe-to-toe with guys like Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers. And you're right, because he doesn't have to. When you have a great defense that can shut down opposing quarterbacks' offenses, like the way the LA Rams shut down Seattle's offense, the way they were able to compete with Tampa Bay and give their offense and give Tom Brady a lot of problems, you don't really need Jared Goff to have a good game. You just need Jared Goff to take care of the football and make the necessary throws to get the LA Rams over the hump, and he can do that. So I'm looking at the LA Rams right now. If you were to give me $1,000 and told me to choose a team who I would have the most confidence in to make it out of the NFC and go to the Super Bowl this year, I would have to say the LA Rams. And a lot of people aren't giving the LA Rams enough credit. The LA Rams are a complete football team. They have a solid offense. They have a great defense. If you were to ask me, I think they are the NFC version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If we're just being honest, they have a great coaching staff. We know that they have one of the best coaches in the NFL, and Sean McVay. I mean, I don't really get why people are sleeping on the Los Angeles Rams in terms of teams that could win the Super Bowl. Because listen, this is my pick for the team that can make it out of the NFC. You see, before the season began, I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers representing the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. I changed my mind. I'm going with the LA Rams. The LA Rams are a complete football team. They have a good offense. They can run the football. You got wide receivers who are more than capable of putting up good numbers. Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. I was arguing with my friends in one of the group chats that I'm in on Instagram last night about, is Cooper Kupp a top 10 wide receiver? I say that he is. He is the best slot receiver in the NFL. I think you have to put him in that top 10 wide receiver discussion when you look at what Cooper Kupp has done when he's on the field. So a lot of people have to start taking the Rams a lot seriously, because this is a team that I think is going to shock a lot of people come playoff time, and they will end up winning the NFC this year. So if I was a betting man, which I don't gamble all that often, if I gamble with a friend, it's probably like, oh man, I think this team is going to win. They're like, oh man, no, this team's going to win. I'd be like, all right, you want to bet? You want to put money down? Sure, JT. We shake hands. That's kind of betting I'm doing. That's kind of gambling I do. I don't really bet against the spread all that often, but if somebody was to hand me some money and told me, hey, JT, you got to use this money to bet on the team that you think has the best chance of making it out of the NFC, I'm using that money on the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Los Angeles Rams look really good this year. And the only reason I don't think enough people are giving the Rams the respect they deserve is because they're still thinking about that loss to the Miami Dolphins. Sometimes teams have bad games. You can't judge one bad loss to determine how good a team is come playoff time. Like, if we were to use that logic, I guess we got to say that the Green Bay Packers aren't going to go to the Super Bowl, and they're not Super Bowl contenders because they lost to the Minnesota Vikings a couple of weeks ago. So just because a team has one loss, and the Miami Dolphins aren't even a bad team. The Miami Dolphins are right in the thick of things in terms of the AFC playoff race right now. So that's not really a bad team. But I can understand why people can look at that game and you can ask somebody, why do you not think the Rams are a Super Bowl caliber football team? You can say, oh man, they lost to the Miami Dolphins. Look how they played. Okay, that's one bad game. One bad game doesn't decide your whole entire season. So me personally, I think the LA Rams are going to end up representing the NFC in the Super Bowl this year, and I think they have a really good chance to win it. I think they have a better chance than what a lot of people give them credit for. The Rams deserve a lot more attention and a lot more praise than what a lot of people in the media are giving them. Don't sleep on the Los Angeles Rams, ladies and gentlemen, because they very well can win the Super Bowl, and I think they have the best chances of making it out of the NFC this year.